What is going on, everybody? This is another installment of Wrestle Talk with the franchise. Today, as you guys are aware, this is all about Crown Jewel. We are going to dive a little bit into a little bit of AEW news, but this episode is the recap show for Crown Jewel that took place this past Saturday in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. As we all know, it's always WWE's yearly event that takes place over there, where this year history was made with the crowning of two Crown Jewel champs. My thoughts on the pay-per-view or the premium live, a little underwhelming to say. This is probably the one premium live that I don't have the most interest in out of the year-long premium lives, just because, like, we all know that this is money-driven. Obviously, they get a big payday for this, so a lot of the stories that go into it is not really has any meaning other than obviously the match that was announced after last week's episode, which was the Bloodline matchup, the 6-man match between the OG Bloodline, which I'm going to discuss a little bit about that. As you know, I did not want to watch SmackDown this past Friday. I didn't want to watch it. I didn't want to watch it. I knew it was pre-taped, but I knew that so many people were leaking what was happening. And I wasn't a big fan of them announcing the match, because you announced the match, but Friday night didn't happen yet. So you still had the issues that Jey Uso was having with Roman. And now you integrate Sammy into the conversation now. And we all seen what happened at Crown Jewel. If not, I will obviously give you the recap on it. But that's the only, I will say, that and Randy Orton and Kevin Owens were the only two stories that seem to have more. There's more that's going to come. Obviously, also Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed, they still have a story to tell. I think that it is going to bleed into the Fatal 4-Way to determine the next number one contender for Gunther, because Seth Rollins is in there, Damian Priest, Dom, and I do believe Bronson Reed as well. But you already know how we do it here with our recap shows. We break things down in category. So, match of the night. Very surprisingly, it is the one match that I was not that most interested in, which was the Fatal 4-Way for the women's tag team titles. That match, to me, stole the show. The women, once again, proved themselves that they are leading in most of these stories. I won't say stories. The women's division in the WWE continues to show to me that they are the best in all of wrestling. I know people will say AEW women's roster, but let's be real. The story angles, the performances, it's not the best. TNA at one point had a solid roster, but we're starting to see that a lot of the TNA talent is coming over to the WWE, whether it is NXT or the main roster. but consistently the women in the WWE just continue to improve and continue to show that they can indeed steal the show if needed to. You've seen a potential mega match in the future between Lash Legend and Jade Cargill. We've seen those two go at it, and let me tell you, they were building up for it, because if you paid attention in the match, you were seeing that, Lash was talking trash to Jade Cargill, and then when they actually did get in the ring against one another, you could just see money written all over them, just them two standing in the ring going blow for blow. But the women's tag team titles did not change hands. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair did retain. But there is some concern that a lot of people I see is having amongst the wrestling community, and that is that of Bianca Belair. Now, I'm not sure if it is because Bianca is in a position where she has become stale, if this tag team has ran its course. Are they scared to let Jade go off on her own? Because she has a good buffer with Bianca. Bianca is leading this tag team. She's the one that's doing most of the talking. She's the one that, I won't say people are coming out to see, because as you've seen on SmackDown, there was a sense of no reaction to her. But Bianca, I feel like there needs to be something that has to change within those two. I'm not sure how you would do it, but I do feel though as if Bianca's character has kind of hit a rut. And it's like, what's next for Bianca? And the only possible thing I can think of is they lose the tag team titles and Jade or Bianca, one of them has to turn. Ideally you would want it to be Jade Cargill. I personally would rather it be Bianca, because I just feel like Bianca is, I've always said this, I love heels. But I think that attitude change for Bianca would be warrant. Now, if you did do it with Jade, Bianca can get a little edgy. Let's spice up her character. Let's spice up, let's let it not be the typical Bianca face, and she's let's see a little more edge to Bianca, like when she was in NXT. When she was in NXT, she did have a little edge to her, but fans still loved her. So I'm thinking maybe you should do something like that. But Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson did impress me in there. Obviously Io Sky and Kairi Sane, impressive. And you had the comedic relief of Chelsea Green being in the match as well, because obviously she tried to do a dive off the top rope, didn't get up there, tried to do it with the second rope, was scared, and then just said, fuck it, I'm just going to jump off the top rope. Jump off the apron and landing in Piper Niven's arms. So it was that comic relief right there, and everybody seems to love Chelsea Green. I do wish that she does at one point in time get a title run. I feel like she's going through this being the butt of all jokes and things like that, but I feel like Chelsea Green does deserve at least one title run. At least one. Maybe she wins a Money in the Bank and she cashes in. I do want to see how Chelsea is as a champion. And this is why I say that they need to have a secondary title for the women's division, because then you have a Chelsea Green winning that title, and we see how the fans, like I said last week with LA Knight, the secondary title is for the company and for the fans to kind of gauge how we view them as champion. And I feel like with the women, you don't have that with a secondary title. It's just the tag team titles. And I'd rather see them one-on-one. What is going to be your rival? What is going to be your story, your arch story that's going to put you at we gauge you off of that. You know, we don't gauge you off of your tag team title matches because I mean, unless you have a story like with the Usos and the New Day, which is, I think, the pinnacle of tag team storytelling, is the Usos and the New Day. In this era, obviously, during the Attitude Era, it was the Hardys, Edge of Christian, and the Dudleys. That was the bar that was set for the tag team division. In this generation, it is the Usos and the New Day. So for the women, where's that bar set for the women in the tag team division? That's a good question that we should start looking into. But yeah, I would love to see a title run from Chelsea Green at some point in time, just because I feel like she deserves it. The OMG moment will go to Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, because their match never started. They literally just beat the hell out of each other. Kevin Owens stunned the ref. Randy Orton RKO'd Adam Pearce. They brawled out to the crowd. Kevin Owens did a spot putting Randy Orton through a table. And this match obviously did not start. Are we going to see this match go further? Are we going to see this match happen at War Games? Or are we going to see it at Saturday night's main event? Because remind you, after Survivor Series, there is no premium live event. The next event is Saturday night's main event. So it's kind of like after Survivor Series, this is it until Royal Rumble. And if I'm correct, we're not getting Royal Rumble till February. If I am correct, I'm actually about to look this up right now. I do believe that this year's Royal Rumble is not going to be until February, which is very interesting. For some reason, my laptop is acting weird. Okay, let's see. Royal Rumble 2024. Or, no, not 2024. Sorry about this, guys. Yes, it will be February 1st, 2025. So we're not going to have a premium live from November to February. That's 3 months of no premium lives. Okay? So where does this fall? Are we going to get it at Survivor Series? Or are we going to get it at Saturday night's main event? I would ideally think it will probably be at Survivor Series. I could also see it at Saturday night's main event. Maybe you have it more so at Saturday night's main event, because I think that could be the write-off for Randy Orton going into Royal Rumble. They also did on Friday, once again, continue to tease Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes for the WWE title. Because Randy Orton, once again, had a moment where he was staring at that title. So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, this story is far from over. And I love what Kevin Owens is doing in the sense of the small little details. As you guys know, he came out with the Cowboy Bob Orton shirt on when he was having his little tiff with Cody. He had the Dusty Rhodes shirt on. So pay close attention. When Kevin Owens is getting into this bag, he likes to do mind games. He likes to play these little mind games. And that's one of the things that he does is he will wear a shirt of somebody, whether it is, of their father or a brother or whatever the case may be. He will wear the shirt as kind of a mind game trick for you. Feel good moment, Liv Morgan. It has to go to Liv Morgan. And the reason why I say it goes to Liv Morgan is because if you paid attention when she won the Crown Jewel championship, she was very emotional. Liv Morgan, in her revenge tour, I feel has more meaning to it other than the revenge tour against Rhea Ripley. I think it was her revenge tour against the powers that be that did not see the potential that she has. They seen her as just eye candy. This goes to Vince McMahon. Because at one point we seen Liv Morgan, in a kind of this seductive role. I remember when it was Bobby Lashley and Lana and Rusev, I believe. She played the role of being Lana's lover, I guess. I remember. And she just they never really put a lot of trust or a lot of investment in Liv Morgan. And I've been a Liv Morgan fan. And to see her now in the position where she is the women's world champion. She is the inaugural Crown Jewel champion. She's at the top of her game. And I don't even think she's hit her prime yet. That's what's crazy. 10 years in, and she has notable wins. Like she's beaten Becky Lynch. She's beaten Ronda Rousey. She's taken, I believe that she had a losing record against Nia Jax. But to see where she is going, I tip my hat off to her because she stayed in it and her fans stayed. She has a very loyal fan base. And they are organically behind her. They've been pushing for her. They wanted to see her hit these milestones. And now that she is, I was watching the post show and the heel gimmick washed away. And this was more of Liv Morgan, the person, coming out and just talking about how she, the trials that she went through, being in the business for 10 years and not knowing what was going to happen next and the investment that Triple H has had in her, because yes, Rhea Ripley has had her moments, but it's Liv Morgan's time. I would love to see the same with a Zelina Vega, especially with Zelina. I think when her time comes, it is going to be phenomenal. But right now is Liv Morgan's moment. And I'm happy that she is where she is right now. I'm a little disappointed that Tiffany Stratton didn't cash in. They really talked about it on Friday. I feel though as if now with Rhea Ripley being out indefinitely because of an injury, a legit injury that she sustained. I believe it was Monday when she sustained it with the headbutt shot that she gave to Liv. And then Tuesday they wrote her off after she was attacked backstage at NXT. A broken eye socket occurred. So now she's written off once again. She's out indefinitely. We don't know when she's coming back. I would hope to think that she comes back Royal Rumble, wins the Rumble, goes on to take on Liv Morgan, and let's see if she gets her title back then. But I will not be surprised if Tiffany Stratton at some point in time cashes in on Liv and beats Liv now. Because now more than ever, Liv needs some story on Raw. Because you really don't have that many on Raw that could challenge for the Women's World title. Get Tiffany Stratton over there, have her cash in, build that story. They even teased her in like a story with Dom. You can work with this, and you're doing a good job with it. So let's continue this momentum. Let's not, and I have all the faith in the world that Triple H is not going to throw it to the wayside and be like, we're not going to do it this way. No, go this route. Get it with Tiffany Stratton winning the world's title and build that story with Tiffany and Liv. And then you can incorporate Nia Jax. No, I won't even say Nia Jax. You can incorporate, Raquel and Dom, and you can just bring all this to the forefront. So that was my feel-good moment, was Liv Morgan winning the Women's Crown Jewel Championship, and just giving her flowers because she deserves it. And the best performers, the women in the Fatal 4-Way, because they had the best match, like I said, and they really did put on and steal the show. So that is my Crown Jewel recap. Obviously, we also know that LA Knight did retain the United States title in a very good match against Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. But like I said, I don't know. I feel like even LA Knight's getting a little, there seems to be a little attitude with LA Knight now. I feel like we may be seeing in the works of him just getting a little bit too arrogant and too cocky with his title reign. Maybe this is what is needed. Maybe a change of character will help LA Knight. What's next for him? Who knows? I don't know who can challenge him for the United States title. Obviously, Cody Rhodes won against Gunther, becoming the Crown Jewel champion for the men's. We did see that the women, Liv and Cody, did receive a Super Bowl-like ring. I'm surprised no one has tried to say or compare it to the AEW ring, the MJF ring, the Diamond Cup ring that MJF wears. But Liv Morgan did say that this probably will be used as a weapon, so be on the lookout for that. She may be using it. Obviously, Cody Rhodes probably will not. He's probably just going to keep it in his trophy case with all other accolades that he has. This is the first premium live that I did not have no mention of the bloodline or Roman Reigns in my categories of wins. And that's because I feel though as if this match it didn't live up to what we probably would have expected to see. obviously, when this match was announced, when I seen it, I did state and I did feel like Roman had to lose. Roman had to get pinned. Jimmy and Jay, no. Roman had to take the fall, and he had to take the fall to Solo, because you're going to continue to show the chinks in the armor. The Roman has to be humbled. You know, like if you go back and you watch on SmackDown where Jay is talking to him and Jay said, if we do this, it's got to be different. I'm your equal. I'm not the right-hand man. I'm not your lackey. I'm your equal. And Roman has to like eat humble pie. He has to eat crow. He has to realize in order for him to regain, he has to change his approach. He has to realize, I need this help. And even when, especially with Jay, Jimmy's one thing. It is Jay that is going to be that focal point between Jay and Sammy. And I say that because those two were the two that he cast out of the bloodline. You know, he casted those two out. Now it seemed as if roles are starting to switch, because now Jimmy is the one that is feuding with Sammy, because Sammy is looking at it. And remember on Monday, when Sammy and Jimmy, this when we started seeing the butting of the heads. But in the original, Jimmy and Sammy were the ones that were cool, and Jay was the one that didn't trust Sammy. Now it's kind of switched over where Jimmy doesn't trust Sammy, and we've seen this as evidence to when Sammy was caught by Jay talking to Solo. Jay is looking at it from the perspective of Sammy was there for me when I got cast out. He was still there. He was a brother for me when I had no brothers. Now, the way Solo can look at Sammy is, I was always kind of there to help, you know, to some degree. Obviously, we've seen that after the match between the bloodline, the OG bloodline and the Rogue bloodline, we seen Sammy come out, and Sammy seemed to be in a crossroad, as we've seen in the shots. Jay's in the corner with the chair wrapped around his neck. Solo happens to be in the corner. Sammy's in the middle, and he's kind of like telling Sammy, like, hey, like, you know, this is... And Sammy went to give him a hug, but then hit him with the exploder, and then the hyenas attacked, and then the OG bloodline came in for the save, and then there was that shot of Solo in the ring by himself in the middle, and in each corner you had the OG bloodline. But they did it perfectly, because diagonally across from one another is Roman and Sammy. And they both came to a head. Solo ducked. Sammy hit Roman with a Halulu kick. And it's very interesting because a lot of people were comparing this shot to another identical shot. And that is the shot of Cody at WrestleMania, losing. It's this shot, it's that shot. You know, it's the Cena shot. That's what I will call it, because we first seen John Cena with this shot of disbelief of what is my next move? Or as Roman mouthed, what the fuck? So now we are embarking on what's next for the bloodline. Well, this Friday, SmackDown will be here in Buffalo, and I will be attending. So I will be having probably some photos. I do have good seats, so I will be attending. Shout out to my dear friend Bentley for helping with the tickets. But I will be in attendance, so I will have some photos I want to take. Hopefully they're going to be good photos. I mean, my iPhone will be able to take good ones, but we'll see. But I'm hoping that we get more obviously built from this story. Roman Reigns and Bloodline will be there, so we will see what happens from there. I know Raw is pre-taped. I know Raw is going to be from Saudi, so maybe we're going to get something from there as well. Maybe we will get some Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso issues arising from there, but we'll have to wait and see. Cody Rhodes, I really do think he may be inserted into this story, because I do think that we will. I'm hoping and praying. Let me just tell y'all this much right now. If I and I know, because I believe right now The Rock is in Germany filming something, but if there is a slither of a chance that The Rock appears in this city of Buffalo, New York, to further the story of the Bloodline Civil War, I'm going to lose all my shit. I am. I'm going to lose all my shit. Seeing Roman for the first time, and then if we top that with just an appearance of the final boss, I know it's not going to happen, but hey, a fan can dream, right? But hopefully we do get something more furthermore into it, because I do feel like Cody Rhodes will be in this story. I just don't know to what extent. Because I don't know what's going to happen with Cody now going into Survivor Series. You just don't know. So that's that. The Wyatt Six have a new feud. They have a new target, which is the Final Testament. And they have also targeted Miz, and they have kidnapped Miz, which is hilarious to see, especially because of the Buzzer, Mercy the Buzzer, who is played by Dexter Lumis, is the one who kidnapped Miz. And if you remember when Dexter first appeared on the main roster, he was targeting The Miz. So it's very interesting that we see that this is what's happening as well. And then we obviously have Halloween Havoc recap, which all I have to say about the Halloween Havoc recap, it was a phenomenal performance. It was a phenomenal PLE, but the women fucking stole the show as always. Obo Fanning versus Tony D'Angelo was my second favorite match, but the women's tag team match of Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade versus Stephanie Valkyrie and Julia was my match of the night. And with the appearance of, damn, I forgot her name. Now I know it begins with a K, but I think it's Carrie. I could be wrong. I'm sorry. But that beast of a woman, she fucking looks like she's the next big thing, no pun intended, because she does use the F5. So a lot of people are saying, scratch the women's war games for the main roster and give us this war games and in NXT. I doubt that we'll get that. I'm very curious to see a women's war game in general, though. Like, who would be for the main roster? Because obviously, we could tell last year that it was going to be Damage Control versus who they had lined up. So you could kind of tell that that was brewing. This year, you don't really see a women's war games in no sighting other than NXT. So we'll be interested to see how that goes. As I already announced, they will be having a fatal four-way for the number one contender for Gunther's world title this Monday today. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out of there. I feel like it's going to be Damian Priest. I know Dom has a potential title opportunity down the line because he did beat Damian Priest on Monday. So it will be interesting to see how that plays itself out. Before I wrap up, AEW news to get into. So, as we are all aware, Full Gear is coming up soon, and we know who Jon Moxley will be facing. And it is exactly who I predicted. It was going to be Orange Cassidy. I think we all knew that Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley was going to face off at Full Gear. I don't see this, like, I think everybody does not see Orange Cassidy beating Mox at any point in time this year. I think Mox is going to hold the title for a substantial long period of time. But it is interesting to see that the Blackpool Combat Club, who probably will be the ones to dethrone or be the ones to put an end to this rampage that is, no pun intended, that is going on through the Blackpool Combat Club, and that will be the Young Bucks. Now, I am not a fan of this whatsoever. You had a good thing going with just the way the Blackpool Combat Club was going and the way they were attacking these people. And you could kind of slightly see that the Young Bucks was kind of like, because the way the Blackpool was interfering in the Elite's stuff, you could tell that they were kind of probably like putting the carrot out there to see how would this react, how would people bite to this. This shit just is stupid now. Like, so the Young Bucks are going to take some time away. According to Meltzer, Meltzer's already apparently spoiled how or what's going to happen. The Bucks are going to take some time off. They're going to be doing some stuff in New Japan. And they're coming back roughly January. They come back in January. Obviously, they're going to come back and they're going to come back as baby faces and try to take down Blackpool Combat Club. And we are going to get, Jesus Christ, this is just so horrible, because what I can see happening, and this all depends on the health status of Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega aligns himself with the Elite. They brush off all the shit that the Elite has done to Kenny Omega. And Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World title. I just started thinking of it as I was talking about it. I have no other words. Except for this is just horrible. It is. It's horrible. Because I thought we were in a position to create stars. The future. I thought there was some point in time I thought Darby was going to be the one to dethrone him, but maybe it's not. Maybe it will be Kenny Omega or Okada. Anyway, because I really don't have much. It's like I don't want to bash this, and I should have my ticket. By next episode, I'm going to have my ticket. I'm having my ticket right there. Right there, you'll see it. You'll see it. The ticket that just goes by saying the franchise wants to see AEW succeed, wants to see it thrive, whatever disclaimer I want to have for AEW. But in other news in AEW, we did finally get the debut of one Bobby Lashley, and the Hurt Syndicate is formed. As we all know, Swerve took on Shelton Benjamin in an absolute phenomenal match. Shelton Benjamin is doing a great job, or was doing a great job, and I say was because I feel like he may now go to the wayside, and I say that because the way, like, he shouldn't have lost. I think he should have been on the cusp of losing, and then Bobby Lashley comes out and attacks him. Spears Strickland, puts him in the hurt lock. MVP comes out and says business is back, or whatever he said, and you end the show similar to how they ended it on Wednesday. You just don't have Shelton take the fall. Like, that's the only thing. Just don't have Shelton take the fall and have Bobby come out and dominate like he did. But obviously we're probably going to get Bobby Lashley versus Shelton Benjamin. Bobby Lashley versus Swerve at Full Gear. We'll see. With Bobby Lashley in AEW, this is more of like a we'll wait and see approach to this. And with that being said, that is all I have for this week's episode of Wrestle Talk. If you are new to this channel, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell at the top so you get more updates of when things are dropping. Like I said, I will be attending SmackDown this Friday. So if you happen to follow us on Instagram, RCW_podcast, that is where I will be posting a lot of stuff, like obviously photos from the event, as the photos and videos as well. If you do follow my personal page, I will probably be posting stuff on there as well. But till then, I will be back next week. I will give you my SmackDown live recap. I will give you my thoughts on just what happened with the live show. As we also know, there is dark matches that happen after SmackDown goes off air. So I will probably give y'all my thoughts on that. And just whatever else is happening in the world of wrestling. I like I said, the Samantha Irvin piece, wait and see. I do know that more stuff has come out. Just what the backstage is thinking or thought about what she did. So till then, you'll just have to wait and see. But I will be back next week, brand new episode. Till then, I'm out. Later.